So the game ends Manchester United 2, Chelsea 1, and the most important thing today is the 3 points. I didn't care if we played bad and got 3 points. I would rather play bad and get 3 points than play well and get 0 points. I think 3 points is needed from a big mentality perspective, and I think the first half from Manchester United was a really good performance. I think Chelsea having 10 men and the fact that Palmer, Neto, and Esteban were all taken off obviously helped us out a bit. Robert Sanchez being an idiot, but it was a very good first half performance from United. Casemiro got sent off late in the first half, which changed the dynamic of the second half, and it was a bit of a scrappy second half, but we did the job. We limited Chelsea. I think Maresca taking off Cole Palmer, Esteban, and Neto also sort of meant that Chelsea didn't have much firepower in attack, so I don't feel that Chelsea really tested us, but the second half was a bit scrappy. I think the Casemiro second yellow sort of ruined what could have been a nice win. I think had we had 11 men going into the second half, maybe we could have gone for a 4-5-0 and got a bit of confidence up and got a few goals in the player. I think I would have liked Sesko to play the 90 and get a goal. He did get subbed off. But look, we got the 3 points, and that is the most important thing. And it's a difficult game to judge, to be honest, because Robert Sanchez got sent off, and then not only did Enzo Maresca take off Esteval for the goalkeeper, but then he took off Neto, and then he took off Palmer. And I thought Maresca's substitutions were atrocious. And, he went defensive, and I was just thinking with the way Man United have been, if I was Chelsea, even with 10 men, I'd still be looking to beat United, and he went defensive, and within 10 minutes, we'd scored a goal, and his game plan was over, and Chelsea were just lucky that Casemiro got sent off, which I think was very soft. For a second yellow card, I think it was very soft. When you look at Cucurella, I think it was very soft. And I thought Casemiro was man of the match until he got sent off. I thought Casemiro was having a phenomenal game. And it's a shame Casemiro got sent off because I think the second half could have been very different. The 10v10 was a bit more even, but Chelsea didn't have any firepower because Maresca made some awful calls. And Man United deserved to win. Some people saying lucky Manchester United, some people being really negative about this. But we deserved to win. We were the better side. Was the second half super convincing? No, but you're 2-0 up against Chelsea. You've lost a player. You're just trying to keep the ball. You're just trying to slow down the game and limit Chelsea, and that's what we did. I would have liked to see more in the second half. I don't like that Sesko came off. I would have rather Maino come on over Agate, but we won the game. We won the game, and that for me is the most important thing. I do think that some of Ruben Amorim's subs, like Mazraoui for Cunha, I liked. It was aggressive. It wasn't too passive. And I thought Bruno Fernandes was phenomenal. I thought Matthijs de Ligt was phenomenal. And I think there was a lot to talk about. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of people are lying about this game. Some people are being really negative, like we were so lucky. And then other people are being too positive, like huge win over Chelsea. Look at that first half. We could have been 3-4-0 up. I think we've got to be realistic about the game. We came out well, and we started the game well. And one thing we give Ruben Amorim is, every game under Ruben Amorim this season, bar Grimsby, but every Premier League game under Ruben Amorim this season, we've started really well. First 20 minutes versus Manchester City was really good. And because we started well, we forced an error of Robert Sanchez, and they went down to 10 men. Now, if it was 11v11, would the first half have been that good? Probably not. You got to be realistic because they would have had Palmer, Esteban, Neto on the pitch in the sense of they could have caused us more issues. I think that we were dominant. I think we could have easily been 1-0 up at half-time had it been 11v11. I think that we started the game well. But I do think the red card and the subs from Maresca meant that, to be honest, defensively, we could deal with Chelsea quite well because they didn't contest Bayindir, which was a big positive. So it's hard to judge the game in the sense of it's an anomaly of a game where he's taken off his whole attack, had João Pedro doing everything, but also at the same time, we then had a 10v10, and I thought that actually Amorim controlled the game well. I didn't like taking Sesko off, but I get why he did it. I would have liked Maino one instead of Agate. I didn't like maybe the whole approach in the second half. I think it was a bit scrappy. But I think, compared to Maresca, I think Amorim handled and managed that game much better. I think Bruno Fernandes was absolutely incredible today. I thought Matthijs de Ligt had a really, really good game as well. And I think Matthijs de Ligt deserves more credit. I think Matthijs de Ligt is somebody that I think has become a little bit underrated online. I think a lot of rivals slate de Ligt and act like he's bad because Man United are bad. But Matthijs de Ligt's been excellent this season, had another excellent game. But I think man of the match, you could arguably give it to Bruno. He almost scored a phenomenal goal at the end to make it 3-1. But Bruno Fernandes has now got 64 goals and 51 assists in 200 Premier League games, which is ridiculous, particularly now that he's playing DM. 6 crosses, 6 time possession, won 4 duels, won 3 shots, 2 shots on target, 2 touches in the opposition box, 2 tackles, 1 chance created, 1 goal. Bruno Fernandes is an excellent player, and I'm telling you this now. I want the system to get the best out of Bruno. The system does not get the best out of Bruno Fernandes. And I get why Amorim is sticking with the system. He has his way of doing things. But look, we've got to win versus Chelsea. I think mentality and confidence is big. I think if we can get this win, it can get us over a mental bump. And if we can get another win, maybe things can kick on under Ruben Amorim. Because I think, while the system hasn't been the most convincing, a lot of it is to do with, well, actually, we missed this chance or we made this error here and it's fine margins, silly goalkeeping, missing a chance. So I think there's a mental element and maybe the win can make us click. But I just look at Bruno, I think he's such a good player that I still think he's wasted in DM. He had such a good game today, but I do think that Bruno is wasted in DM. He's a truly special player, and I think any system doesn't get the best out of him. For me, and I get, I just think that's something we've got to look at. If things do go wrong, that's something we've got to look at. I think Bruno was incredible today. I think he was absolutely everything. I think he was a leader. And look, I'm happy. I'm not going to be negative. It's hard to, jump to crazy conclusions and be like, we're back because, the situation, the game planned out. But I'm really happy with that, guys. I'm chuffed to win the game. And look, I hope that we can kick on from this. This is a win. This was a different game. We're not going to have many games like this, but this is a win versus Chelsea. This is Garnacho sitting on the bench. Garnacho was fuming, by the way. Garnacho was fuming. He was ready to come on. He was desperate to come on. He saw it as 10v10. I'm telling you what now. Ruben Amorim, if Ruben Amorim had done what Enzo Maresca had done today, we'd have been going mental at Ruben Amorim. So it'll be interesting to see if the media give Enzo Maresca some similar treatment. Because they tried to sell Tyreek George and they brought in Garnacho and they brought Tyreek George on over Garnacho. He took Neto off, he took Esteban off, he took Palmer off. After De Ligt and Bruno, Enzo Maresca's man of the match for me because his calls were atrocious. I mean, Garnacho's there, so desperate to come on. And I think other than the win, I think the best part of the game was the fact that Garnacho didn't come on and Tyreek George did. And Garnacho was there, he was ready, he was desperate to come on. I felt like Garnacho could have made an impact for Chelsea that game. I feel like he would have been up for it. Maybe Luke Shaw would have gone at him in some studs. But I have to say, one of the highlights of that game was Garnacho just not getting on the pitch. He must have been fuming. We know he hates sitting on the bench. That's how he fell out of Amorim. And for him to sit on the bench in a game like that when they need a goal, he would have been fuming. A lot of negativity about Sesko, but personally I'm ignoring it. I think if it wasn't for the Casemiro red card, Sesko could stay on. Do you know what annoyed me about Sesko? It was more that he was there and the crosses were so bad. Sesko is so big. Sesko has such a good box presence. And the crosses to Sesko, I think Dorgu outside of crossing had a good game. I thought Dorgu's ball progression was good, but it was so bad. Continuing on, we deserve to win. We had 1.74 XG to the 0.39. We had 2 big chances to their 1. While Chelsea actually had more possession, which might concern people, Chelsea didn't do anything with it because they took all their attackers off. We, for me, were the better team. We deserved to win. De Ligt was fantastic. Bruno Fernandes was fantastic. If Casemiro didn't get sent off, he was looking at man of the match in the first half. And I'm buzzing with the points, but I don't want to be negative, but we didn't learn a lot today. The players looked good. We had an advantage because of what Maresca had done. And the advantage was so big that no system could ruin it. We should have won that game. The performance wasn't great in the second half. Let's be honest. But we limited them to 1 chance, which they scored from. Bruno and De Ligt were the best players. Now let's move on. I don't know who we've got next. I feel like we've got some easier games coming up. Let me actually look who we got next. Manchester United. Do you know what's so annoying about having 1 game a week? We've got Brentford and Sunderland, 2 teams who are favourites to go down at the start of the season. This is a really good chance to build something. You've got the win over Chelsea. Go and beat Brentford, go and beat Sunderland, and we can go into Liverpool with some confidence because we actually have done all right under Liverpool under Ruben Amorim. We do all right in the big games under Ruben Amorim. We look better in the big games under Ruben Amorim if you look at Arsenal, you look at Liverpool last season. Let's go get a result at Brentford, which we don't do very often. Let's go and get a result at Sunderland. That could be 3 wins in a row. If we get 6 points from our next 2 games, we get 3 wins in a row, all of a sudden, European football looks realistic. All of a sudden, it could be on. And then we go into Liverpool, maybe with some confidence. So, the 3 points is massive. You need 3 points. Garnacho probably not getting on is also big. I thought Bruno was fantastic. I think Enzo Fernandes losing his head was big. Disappointed Maynard didn't get more minutes considering how good he was versus City. Don't like the substitution of taking Sesko off. But he took Mazraoui off Acuna and I liked that. I liked the aggressive sub there. Look, let me know your thoughts down below. But I felt that we controlled the game in the first half. I really liked the first half. Really wish that Casemiro didn't get sent off because it would have been nice to have gone 4-5-0 up, got a big win, get a Sesko goal. Confidence is big. Chelsea were atrocious. It's one of those where I don't think we were amazing. I think Chelsea were atrocious, but I thought that there was some good standout performances, and I think there was a lot of good signs. And look, Garnacho not getting on the pitch is the biggest thing, and we scored 2 goals. We defended well in the end. We limited Chelsea. And positives. I thought Bayendier even had a good game. And, I've not been the most positive about Bayendier. I thought he had a good game. The lit was fantastic. I think Dorgu lacks with the crossing. I don't think Ahmad had a good game. I like Ahmad. He's not quite been at his best this season. So that's one area of a little bit concerned. I thought Boomer was good for the most part. Cunha did all right. When Cunha had the ball, there was no one else up there. He just sort of had to do it all himself because we're down to 10 men, because we're defending. Agate wasn't too bad either, to be fair. So yeah, look, 3 points, guys. That is massive. That's important. Let's try and be positive, and stuff. And I know we didn't learn a lot because of how the game went, but let's be positive. Let's build on it. Sunderland and Brentford next. This is a chance for Ruben Amorim to build up some confidence, because Ruben Amorim has got 4 or 5 games to really prove something, and a win is the perfect way to start that. So let's hope he does, because you know me, I've been very negative about Ruben Amorim. I'm still not fully convinced about Ruben Amorim, but I've said many times I don't want to keep sacking managers. I'm fed up with the sacking manager cycle. The managers on the market are bad. I need to see something from Ruben Amorim to back. Today was a bit of a different game. I think Amorim got most of his calls right, but I need to see something over the next 4 or 5 games to back from Ruben Amorim, and hopefully we see that. Thank you for watching. Bye.